Welcome back to another Midjourney experiment. I'm going to combine some famous artists, but this time they're all suggestions from you, the audience. Someone had asked, rather than naming artist, have I tried combining styles? No, I haven't tried that, and I'm sorry I don't know who left that comment. If it was you, please leave another below. I'll go through each of the styles and then we're going to combine them. Here's a lion Baroque style. These are so epic. Maybe version 4 is just amazing, but I'm a big fan of these. They look like they'd be carved into a cathedral. Here's a lion surrealist style. Number 1, very Lion King-like. Love the hair. And number 3 and number 4 is obviously my favorite. It's gotta be yours too, right? Look how good that is. That's so pretty. Now, perhaps this is my fault for just using the words given to me. Maybe I'm misrepresenting what romanticism is supposed to be, but if you just use the word romantic, you're gonna get something like this, which I think is hilarious that they'll just add these sort of elements to a lion. Like, look how pretty number 4 is. The blue eyes, that smile, the roses, the color, it's gorgeous. Check out these. This is a lion constructivism style. Holy cow, I could play with this style all day. I mean, we cannot get better than that. This is the pinnacle of digital art. And you know what I really like about it is that it's not a specific artist. Like, theoretically, anybody could draw in this style. And I think that's really important for the future of AI art, so that we aren't taking the essence of a specific artist. I think a lot more people would be okay with AI art generated in this way. And God, is it beautiful. Which one's your favorite? But check it out. Here they are together. A lion, Baroque, Surrealist, Romantic, Constructivism. Just like the comment wrote it, here it is. And I gotta say, these are incredible. I'm not quite sure where each style comes into play, but if you want something that looks like this, use this phrase. Like, these are just so good. The backgrounds, the shape of the heads, the look in the lion's eyes, the quality of the hair, like, each feature in these pics are so high quality. I'm just the biggest fan ever. Thank you for that suggestion. But we're not done. We're going to take a look at their second suggestion, and we're going to use a frog to show off these styles. Here is a frog cubist style. And like, look how good these are. First of all, version 4 is amazing because of how coherent the pictures are. The freaking frog is in frame. The freaking frog is in frame. It's got every appendage it needs. It's got all its limbs. This is so great. Love the reflections. Like, number 2, incredible. The way that there's similar light on each part of his body, and then the shadows are where they're supposed to be. Like, that's mind-blowing. I love the depth in number 3. Love the simplicity in number 1, I should say. And I really do like the colors in number 4. Here's a frog abstract style. Now, I think I may have said this before, but these are my favorite pictures ever. Number 1, I got a real soft spot for. I think the colors are amazing. The splashes, the framing, the palette of colors is just, top notch. Number 2 is probably my favorite picture ever. Book it. You can, end of story. Favorite picture ever. Number 3, also amazing. Like, what can you say? If you want some of the coolest pictures ever, use abstract style. Here's a frog expressionistic. And I gotta say, also amazing. I'm gonna quickly just point out that number 3 is one of my favorite pictures ever. Like, it looks like an old photograph or something. And like sort of 3-dimensional. The way his mouth sort of leans off the edge there. Yeah, it's so good. And then here's a frog surrealistic. Number 1, right away. Just a classy mofo right here. A gentleman to the nth degree. Love the expression at number 3. Like, just, how could you ever get mad at this guy? I mean, whatever's below his eyes kind of freak me out, but seems like a good dude, right? Number 2, love the reflection in his eyes. Kind of the shadow hidden from the bright light of the misty meadow over here. And then number 4 is just hilarious. Here's the word romanticism. Gotta say, love number 2 being a gentleman, although he's got like 2 pairs of eyes. Whatever. Love the top hat, love the bow tie. Number 4, how cute is he? He's just holding a rose. That is a prince in frog form if I've ever seen one. Number 3 looks like he needs a nap. Nonetheless, here they are all together, a frog, cubist, abstract, expressionistic, surrealistic, romanticism. If you want art that looks like this, use those words together. These are Picasso-esque in terms of imagination, and this was made by artificial intelligence. Like, what are we even talking about here? This is just incredible. All right, now we're gonna go back to the traditional combining famous artists together, and these suggestions were brought to you by the legend himself, highly educated trucker from the YouTube comments. Thanks a bunch. If you have any artists you think I should check out, please leave the suggestion below. The first pair we're gonna look at are Patrick Woodruff and Leroy Neiman. Neiman, again, sorry, any pronunciation errors. And throughout all of these artists, we're going to be looking at just 2 prompts to see how they diverge between each artist. The first one's going to be vague, and the second one is rather specific, and I think the results are pretty interesting. So the first phrase we're going to use is the mile high. Not sure what they're going to come up with, but let's take a look. Here's the mile high artwork by Patrick Woodruff. Love this cartoony style. I don't know if you'd call this cartoony or more like an illustration, but I love the world building that goes on here. Like number 4, it's kind of like the roots of a tree turned into this city. Number 1, it's got a floating city, but it's not really floating. It's like built into the ground here. And then in the foreground, there is something like an altar, but then you got these planets in the background and these are these clouds or is that water? Either way, mwah, chef's kiss. Here's the same prompt by Leroy Neiman. Mind blown, favorite artist ever now. Look at the use of colors. I think it's a crime that AI is able to steal his style, but at the same time, it's like Robin Hood giving away all of this to the public. Just can't believe I get to generate art that looks like this. So happy. I like the use of the mountains. I guess that's the mile high. Love her. Think it's beautiful. Not really sure how it got a city here, but whatever. Incredible. Love the lights, the diffusion of the light. So good. Now here they are combined. I don't really know what to say. We've got that illustrative style of Patrick mixed with the colors of Leroy. Pretty amazing. I do like how there's 4 distinct images in all of them. Number 2's got this train in the mountains mile high. Number 1 is we've got lift off here. Like that's going a mile high. Number 3 is a plane, but then a city up here. And number 4 is just like a pretty cool looking city. Really impressed. Love these 2 artists. Check them out if you want art that looks like this. So the next phrase we're going to use is more specific, like I said, and it is just the cat in the hat. I didn't know what it would come up with, and here we go. Here it is by Patrick Woodruff. I'd say pretty illustrative. I like that there's 4 distinct cats. Kind of spooky, but not what I was expecting. Not that super illustrative style, not that zoomed out look on a subject. I don't know why that is. Is it because the prompt was specific and Midjourney just wants to draw this when it sees a cat in the hat? I don't know. Same prompt by Leroy Neiman and just incredible. Which one is your favorite? I love number 2, but I also love number 3, and I'm not gonna lie, I got a soft spot for number 4. Look how cute number 3 is. He's just posing for the picture. Mwah. Give him as many treats as he wants. Side note, I'm allergic to cats, but I still love them. And here they are combined. Again, not what I was expecting. I guess there's a little bit of Leroy's color in here, maybe the oranges you could say. And I don't really know where Patrick comes in. Nonetheless, if you want art that looks like this, especially this creepy cat number 2, like that's nightmare fuel. Use the prompt artwork by Patrick Woodruff and Leroy Neiman. The next pair we're gonna look at, Yoshitaka Amano and Don Mites. Here's the Mile High by Yoshitaka. Man, these are, I don't know if abstract's the right word, but super powerful illustrations. Like, as much as there's no comprehensible piece of any of these images, there's so much in there. Okay, we got a bridge. I think these are all kind of floating cities in some sense at least. But for the amount of chaos in each image, there's a surprising amount of clarity and detail. I could stare at these pictures for hours. And here is the Mile High by Don Mites. Some of you may know Don Mites. He's a legend on this channel. Love his work. And I gotta be honest, these are not what I expected from him. I think he's got a pretty distinct style. I don't quite see it here, like maybe in number 4, maybe in number 3, but the color's not quite there. Nonetheless, these are pretty beautiful. I'm not sure if this is just a little glitch in Midjourney, but let's take a look at them combined. Now this screams Don Mites to me. I think you get the chaos of Yoshitaka, but the color and the upbringing of Don Mites. Like, these clouds are just so him, in my opinion. Granted, I don't even know what the guy looks like, but I've generated a few of his artwork, and I would say this really gives me his vibe. Also, number 1, This color palette is so him, and I love, again, the chaos, but the intricacies of the chaos. If you want art that looks like this, which I recommend you do, use Yoshitaka Amano and Mites in your prompt. Here's the Cat in the Hat by Yoshitaka. What do you see here? I'd say 4 pretty distinct images. Number 1, we have a girl, but it does include a cat, so there's that. Number 2 is maybe what I would expect with the chaos, where like this is a pretty raggedy, chaotic cat. Number 4, just look how good like the hat sits over his ear here. It's amazing. And number 3, I like the colors. Love his eyes. Love this little Americana hat he's got. Again, love the way it sits on his head. So pretty. Here's the Cat in the Hat artwork by Mites, and once again, not what I expected. The color's not really there. I'd say the style's not really there, although I feel like this is distinct from other Cat in the Hats, and I can't quite put my finger on why it's different in any way when it's not exactly like the artist mentioned. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I do love these pictures though. Number 4 kind of looks like a sorting hat, very Hogwartsy. Yeah, these are great. And here they are combined. The color's not really there from Mites, but I would say the chaos of Yoshitaka completely is. If you put steampunk in your prompt, you could get images sort of like this, but it would make it very brown and beigey. So perhaps using these artists is a way to get these intricate clockwork-like details while maintaining like a general color palette. Number 3, just look at his hat. That's so good. The next pair we're gonna look at are Burkey and Nagaoka. Here's A Mile High by Burkey. Very illustrative, but a lot more powerful than I've seen before. Like, doesn't your mind just create stories out of these images? I think they're so fascinating. Number 1 looks like it's from Oblivion. Number 4, look at the detail and the depth of these images. Just how much world building goes into this blows my mind. And here it is from Shusei. Wow, these are absolutely gorgeous. I love when images tell stories and depth in these images. Like, there's like 4 or 5 things to point out in each of these, and that's just so incredible. Like, number 1 would be amazing if it just focused on like one aspect here, but we have this cloudy river in between the mountains, and then we have a winding road down here on the left. We have a floating city here. We have a mountaintop city back here, and then we have these like volcanic clouds in the background. Number 2, look at this blood moon back here on top of a mountain that's like scaled like this. We have these rolling waves of clouds going towards the mountain, and then we have a train leading from the mountain into the foreground. That's insane. Number 3, another train, but look at the color. Look at the sun rising above the peak, and we have the color bleeding off of the sun, goes from the yellow to the orange into the purple. It's just, what are we, who, how? Okay. Number 4, look at the focus of the picture going deeper into it. That is just so wild. We have this mountain in the foreground, then a layer of clouds, then another mountain, then another mountain, then another, and another. And then there's clouds behind that. So good. And here they are combined. Once again, not what I expected. I would say the color of Shusei is not quite there. This definitely feels a lot more like Burkey, but I do appreciate the level of detail and the different focuses of each image. But you know what? I wasn't really satisfied with that last one. So I went in and I changed the prompt and I added some weights to it to bring out a little more of Shusei. Let me know what you think. Now here looks like a proper combination. I'm not sure why Midjourney will focus on one artist more than another. Perhaps it's where they appear in the prompt, but nonetheless you can fine tune it a little with different weights. And here we are. We brought out the color of Shusei while keeping this crazy depth of field from John. These are mind-blowing, are they not? Just so good. Now here's the Cat in the Hat by Burkey. What do we think of this? I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Number 1 and 3, nothing to do with Cat in the Hat. Number 2, love though, because he's got this cute little helmet on and his ears are either peeking through the helmet or they're like a part of the helmet, or maybe there's cut out in the helmet so that his ears can sit up there. Like, that'd be hilarious, right? Love the expressions on the face. Don't really know what to make of it other than that. Here's the Cat in the Hat by Nagaoka, and not quite what I expected. I've probably said that a bunch of times. I'm sorry if that's annoying. I don't know how else to put it, because it looks different than other versions of this prompt, but also very different than the vague prompt of A Mile High. Like, I don't quite get the colors, but red showing up so much. Is that because the Cat in the Hat comes from Dr. Seuss and it's got red connotation with it? Is that what's happening? Maybe. I don't know. And here they are combined. Again, hilarious, because not what you expected, probably, definitely not what I expected. I don't know where number 2 comes in. Don't ask me. Love that it kind of puts them in space though with these others. There's not really a hint of Shusei here. I don't really know what to say. Love number 4 though. Can you get any better than this kitty? And if you want artwork that looks like this, somehow use John Burkey and Shusei Nagaoka in your prompt. The final pair we're going to look at are Sergio Aragonis and Bob Lazelle. Here's A Mile High. Love these illustrative drawings. Feels like a children's book for sure. Love the interpretations of the prompts. Number 2 is just straight up a floating city. Number 1 is a city kind of built on top of each other. Number 4 looks like a moving city, or this is just a docked flying city. Pretty great. And here is the prompt from Bob Lazelle. Check out these colors. Just incredible. Strongly recommend Bob Lazelle now. And also the amount of detail. This guy is S tier for sure, just like a few others we've seen. But number 1, we got this floating UFO, but it's got like 2 parts to it. We have this city kind of built like a temple pyramid with a sky beam. There's planets in the background. There are spiking mountains in the background as well. Then in the foreground, there's a shadow being cast by these hills onto like these city lights down here. And then even closer to the camera, there's like a temple here and some foliage over here. Just wow. Number 2, we got a train coming away from some sort of city over here. Love the pillars of these tracks. And then there's like a cloud going through the pillars because it's a mile high. Wow. I love the simplicity of number 4. I think that is so good. And number 3 is just like a pretty powerful looking space station in the middle of a desert. Like, sure, sign me up. And here they are combined. I think you can really see the illustration of Sergio mixed with perhaps the colors and set design of Bob. Just wow. Love number 1. Love how the clouds are kind of being separated by the ship. Number 4, again, a spaceship on top of rocks in a desert. So good. And then look at everything in number 3. We have a city on the ground, city on the rock. We have these balloons here, but there are balloons in the background. World building in one single image that was generated in like 30 seconds. And here's a Cat in the Hat by Sergio Aragonis. What do you say? These are pretty creepy, but pretty specific, as in they're different than other Cat in the Hats that we've seen. The red shows up again, and I think that might just be from all the references of the Cat in the Hat being Dr. Seuss. But you can clearly tell these are illustrations, probably from a child's book. Although pretty creepy, I love the details in number 4. There's a bunch going on in this scene. Don't look at it too closely though, you might have nightmares. Here's the Cat in the Hat by Bob Lazelle. Again, how many times am I going to say this? Not what I expected. I guess I'm always assuming it's going to be a zoomed out photo of what a Cat in the Hat represents, but I guess just that phrase brings in this portrait-like atmosphere. And I love the details that get added. Wasn't really expecting all this stuff on number 3, but I love his sort of button eyes. Love the outfit on number 1, love the outfit on number 2, and I love the way the hat sits on some of these images. So good. And here they are combined. I would never have guessed that these were these 2 artists. Sergio, I think you get the illustration. Bob, maybe some of the color. I don't know. If you want art that looks like this, use Sergio Aragonis and Bob Lazelle in your prompts. That's all I have for you. Leave some artists for me to try in the comments below. Hope you're doing well. Take care. I'll see you next time. Peace. FTP, FTP, FTP.